Oh, we're here. We're live. Hi, chat. Good evening. Starting a little late, I know. Oh my goodness. I need to update this today too, shouldn't I? But a message just for me. Yes, a message that I'm here live. I mean, you could always just close the tab. Good evening, Fluffy. Drax, our resident Nova. No, not Nova B. Sorry. Tiger Bean. Why did I call you a Nova B? Oh, hold on. Let me try something. Nova B East. I really like the aesthetic. Well, joined with none other by Dan Vesper over here. Hold on, let me just sit my position. Hi, chat. Yeah, let's make the stream warm up a little bit because we're starting really, really late. I'm starting 4 hours later than usual. I'm sorry, I was caught up doing and this and that. Unity, Blender. I was finishing some commissions even. If you were to train your eyes to Vespa, you can see what's changed. It's like she dipped her hands in white paint. Should I change it to something less white? Nah, I think it's matching. Hmm. Why, if it isn't Axiom, hello? And Mitzi, of course. Scheduled to. Fancy says I finally got the VR headset. Well, congratulations. I'm sure you're excited to go dive into the virtual world at this VR chat. Hello, Nordex. Not sure if you're gonna have my stream as long as I usually do, but I'm gonna try my best. I love this world. Me too. A quiet respite. Hmm. Seems very apt, doesn't it? Maybe I should set the focus a little bit. Semi-auto. Put it there. Narrow the aperture. There, that's better. See Daisy a bit closer. Could be better. Also, Vesper, you've been radio silent since earlier. I'm sure chat would wish to hear your hellos.
Hi, John.
Hydrate. Yeah, of course, I have
Hello.
water. If I
Oh,
can reach it.
yep. Oh, okay. There it is.
So early. A new camera angle in comparison to other times. I mean, what are you talking about? This one will always still be here. Thank you, Nine. Yeah. I think the crickets are a tad bit loud. That's the angle I'm used to seeing. You may be wondering why I'm exploring wider angles compared to before. Well, you see, I don't stream on TikTok anymore. It's just purely Twitch. Not a big fan of the chat there, but I still post my content there. Little snippets of the stream. Also, because of the little performance hiccups I kept on getting. My goodness, the frame drops, the little freezes, it's... Do you know how many clips I have been unable to use? Been rendered useless because of the little hiccup, the little audio delay, the freeze in the middle of a conversation. Perfectly good topic, man. Gab can train his legs now. Yes, I can. Hello there. Do you know that meme, Vess?
Yes, just
Uh,
hello there.
Hello there. Hmm. Hello, Gib. Nice to see you. Long time no see. Hi there, Nanako. Metal God. You guys doing okay? I'm not gonna lie, I can't get that sponge you're using out of my head when I hear you talk. Hey, if it's effective, it ain't really dumb, as I mentioned on chat. I mean, on stream, on Discord earlier. Ugh, my head is still filled with Instagram nonsense. I'm
Someone
quickly
was
gonna change my.
procrastinating.
Oh, I was resting my eyes. I was working on Blender and Unity for 6 hours straight. At first, I was concluding the changes I was doing to Vesper's avatar. And then I started working on a little side project of my own. It's a little undercooked what I'm doing, but at least the important bits are accomplished. Yeah. There's this, there's that, there's this to fix. There's still that to fix as well, and yes. Reflections, yes. Sadly, this emote is real. Wow, that is a very smooth emote. Look at the frames per second of that thing. That's an empty wallet. If it isn't a tragedy most of us share. You know, I forgot I have this game that I've been wanting to finish. It's called Clair Obscure Expedition 33. And then I recall being absolutely enchanted by the opening sequence, the music, the OST. In such a mood. Loss, despair, acceptance. A small glimmer of hope with each voyage sent over. I wish you luck, Helix. I hope it works out. Good luck. I'm sure you'll get it. Listen to the other tracks. Lumiere. What kind of avatar this is? It's a homebrew Hydragea. No, Hydragea. How do you pronounce it, Vesper?
There's technically no wrong pronunciation. It's just Hydrogia.
Hydragea. There we
So
go.
it doesn't sound
Hydragea.
like someone saying, you know.
Hydragea. There you go. Hydrogen. Liquid nitrogen. But yeah, this is the
Hydrogen, I guess,
Hydragea
so
by
basically just
Tokyozilla.
hydrogen sounds like a mix between a hydra and a protogen. That's
Nitrogen.
also an actual thing.
Do you remember that scene from Zohan? Hello, Aggie. They buy Neosporin or something instead. That's true. It was like the cream, right? Have you played Helldivers recently? I recently just patched my game. I saw the recent Warbot having Halo ODST. Oh my goodness. I'm only gonna play that game in first person from now on so I can see my rifle. But the one that I'm most excited about would be the it was the Dust Devils, I think. A Warband where you go to determined home worlds and then there's like underground areas. Not to mention there was like what seemed to be an AK rifle. I do love my 7.62 MMs. I'm not sure. I'm looking for nice tracks. Let's see. Lumiere. Winklevoss. Ba, ba, ba. Well, well, well. If it isn't you. For those of you that seen that video over a year ago, I was playing the same thing, Declare the Loon. But my background was in pure black. Unlike now, rather, how should we call this? Verdant in proximity. Look at all the trees, the night sky, the soft crackling of the fire before us. Vesper sitting on what seems to be an decommissioned electric chair. Ah, yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely lovely.
We're just working with what the agency can afford, right?
It's just even up. Yep. Hello, Ironwall. Go on. Don't like the change in tone to my streams tonight. Hieroglyphics. Ah, yes. Drawing me, splatting my face, drawing me, hurting my lumbars, my little spine as I trip forward and backward. I really like the fan art you've made. Thank you. I look forward to more. I wonder what sort of physical shenanigan I'm gonna trip up myself with next time. Yeah, Unix, that's not gonna work. There's no wires.
There's no wires. It's outdoors. There's no electricity over
Ah, it is
here.
indeed. Oh, anything but the exploding to bits, please.
Nope. I don't think a a jigsaw puzzle would be necessarily that fun.
That's true. This is track me, but it's just so slow. Listen to this. Low nighttime. Yes, yes, I'm live, Galaxy. None other. Do you use VC Face or just VR chat for your streams? Why, hi there. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you, Equinox. Diving straight into the questions, I see. No, I simply use VR chat. Everything you see here is in game. Nothing special, nothing external, no nothing. It's just OBS recording my current time here in VR. See, look at Store Own. Store Own? Stora. Stora. I'll call you Stora. Hello, new here. What's the stream about? You just campfire talking? Oh, pretty much. By the way, to those of you that are uncertain about my companion's name, her name is Vesper. Vesper. Oh, do get it right, please.
It's like James Bond's girlfriend, okay? It's not hard.
Vesper. Ow. The music box or them. I'm gonna save that. When I have the depth of field as narrow, we look like we're in some sort of small diorama on your screen, doesn't it? Vespa. She's not an Italian branded scooter.
Nope. Do I look like one? You know, broom broom. No.
Listen to this, and then I'm gonna go back to my jazz. Pretty much go down. You're quiet today. Oh, I'm good. I'm just chilling. Enjoying music per se. Hi there, Blue. I see you here. You're having fun in Helldivers. Tell us a bedtime story from your country. Where I'm from. Funny. Most of the stories shared to me when I was younger weren't ones that were all that comfortable. It was more of trying to scare you to sleep than comforting you about it. My grandma would go and very much like on this evening where you can hear the crickets, you can see the stars and unobscured sky because it was in the province. She would go, if you stay up too late, the Manananggals, they're vampires essentially who bisect themselves, will go and find you and make sure you do go to bed in one way or another. As you would expect, a creepy tale, sure. Effective way to make a kid go to sleep. Your sweet dreams instead of nightmares not guaranteed though. I've been meaning to ask Blue Scales. When in VR chat, can we create group instances? It's not reserved to you. It's the latter, Blue. This could be a cutscene from Baldur's Gate or something. I just need the dialogue options down here, don't I? You could totally be an NPC. Good evening. I just woke up from a 4-hour nap. So glad I didn't miss the stream. How's your day been, anyways? Oh, well, it's been doing okay. Felt a bit lazy, but I tried my best to be productive, so here I am, being able to accomplish the things I needed to do. Vesper's little progress on the textures and whatnot, fixing the UVs of the Luna Beast V1. Clearly not an easy undertaking. Then again, Stormwolf did have a reason as to why the UVs were set that way. It was so the default Nova Beast textures would work directly, but in this case, you can't really paint the fingers or hands a different color. Why, if it isn't Beth? Greetings, friend. Fancy you dropping by. I thought you were swallowed up by work or having to deal with that guy you were training of some sorts. I'm glad you're a man of culture, Beth. My trainee took the rest of the day off. I see. So I take it you have some free time as well. I'm glad. Cheesecake, hands down.
Guess Blue and I share a favorite then.
I got a question, says Kodog. Do you have a schedule yet for streaming? Or are you still trying to get the AC? 1. I have my air conditioning set. 2. My schedule is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, plus 8 GMT. But to the Americans, the Western world, which is pretty much 12 hours behind me, what day does that fall on? So 10:30 p.m. my time. So that's 10:30 a.m. of the same day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. About to go through a lot of pain. Good luck, Ironwalk. Do what's necessary. Do what you have to do.
Well, if you're normally, it depends. Actually, no. Now that I think about it, actually, really just depends on what time zone you're in. Because Mystic's like an hour ahead of me, so she's matching with you. But if it's 10, if you're starting stream 10:30 p.m. your time, you're starting 9:30 a.m. my time.
Gotcha. Tres leches cake is my favorite right now. Oh my goodness. Is that the one with flan? We have something in the Philippines called leche flan. I hope it's something familiar.
Yeah, I don't quite know what flan is. I mean, it's like wait, no, flan? Yeah, I know what that is. It's a pudding. But tres leche? I butchered the pronunciation probably because I don't speak Spanish or anything similar. Isn't it like, from what I've seen in it, it's like a moist cake?
Ah. With a very syrupy overflowing from the top, and I think I know what you're talking about. It's a 3 milk
Probably
cake.
something similar. Yeah. That's
What's
from
this?
what I've seen.
Some bad life advice from Warui Naku. What's this? I'm going to start my new school in 3 days, but I find I can't handle it all. It's really stressing me out. It's simple. Going to school is an opportunity to leave a lasting impression towards your classmates. So what do? You go in there in the best superhero costume that you can muster or that you desire, and then proclaim you're there to save the day. Nothing stronger than presenting yourself as I'm not gonna say loony, as somebody with guts and whatnot. I'm sure they'll remember. They're gonna see you as either fun or an absolute fool. But either way, it should make your school manageable. Bad life advice. Hello, Venomous. Are you a moose with venom? Oh my. A triple milk cake sounds like a nightmare for my lactose intolerance. Oh dear. Beth says it's a sponge cake in Latin America soaked in 3 kinds of milk. Evaporated, condensed whole milk. It is often topped with whipped cream, fruit, and cinnamon. I would probably go vacuum up that cake if it's anywhere near me.
It does sound really good. I've just never tried it. There's a lot of things I've never tried actually, and Gab knows this.
We're gonna get there eventually, Vest, don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Okay, I can send you a recipe. It's more Puerto Rican style. Okay. It's like you guys are having a confectionery break, enjoying treats without me. My goodness.
Yeah, we've got marshmallows here, but I wouldn't eat them considering how stale they are, you know, just
Why are you even keeping them if they're stale, Vesper?
I'm not keeping them, that's the thing. This is an agency campsite. I'm not throwing out anything.
Yeah, what's your treat or dessert of choice? Dessert. It's probably gotta have ice cream in it. Vanilla ice cream over some nice soft waffles perchance, you know. I think that's a good mix. So that would immediately make me a fan of crepes and any of the like. Also a fan of milkshakes, smoothies, things you could drink and nurse throughout dinner. Nice, cold, sweet. A little overpriced and prone to making you diabetic, but I think it's well worth it if you enjoy it every now and then. Reed says I'm at a remodeling job and the unit we're at is changing is perfectly fine. Only used for a year, so I'm taking it home to give my brother. Okay. Where were we? Yes, I know, I know. I love profiterole. How do you pronounce that? Profiteroles with melted chocolate. Now I can decide between that and cheesecake. Cheesecake, you know, cheesecakes are more of a hit or miss sort of deal. Sometimes you get the one that's like the New York cheesecake. It's got like little Oreos in it or that Graham base to it and then very thick cheese. Other times it's sort of more of a whipped cream with a bit of cheese sort of ordeal. You know, it's cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, you know it's cheap, you know it's disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Korean. You know, I
Might as
told
well buy
myself,
yourself
I'm gonna have my stream not super long today because I've started quite late. Man, it's already 3:04 a.m. This is usually when I'm already hanging out with my community after stream, and yeah, I was supposed to start at like 10. But alas, here we
Yeah.
are. Better
Yeah.
late than never.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I did not mean to interrupt you back there, but
No,
speaking of
you didn't
cheesecake,
interrupt it.
Might as well buy myself a slice for my birthday then, because that's coming up in what? Considering it's the 27th, that's been a month now. Like about a month away.
It's still a month away, Bess, but I'm glad we have a forecast of when the rain is about to fall. I want to work on my project, but I'm so unmotivated, says Axiom. Axiom. Don't laze around like Vesper and I. Come on, you gotta exercise that genius of yours. I never stop praising your skills and know-how when it comes to pretty much anything VR related. Unity and whatnot. Your little secret project involving shuffling and a funny gun that makes sounds and light.
Mhm.
So come on,
Plus,
get
hey,
to
if you're
work.
gonna be working on stuff, I'm more than likely doing homework alongside with you. You know?
Yeah, precisely. How about this? You go work until my stream ends, right? I'm only what, 36 minutes in, and I'll be here for quite a while. Maybe not as long as usual, but gonna try my best all the same. Yeah. You'll do it for me, right? I'm still fairly new, says Waki Yumi. How did you two meet? I'd love to hear lore. How did me and Vesper first meet? Well, how did that go? Vesper was but a viewer like you. And then one day I said, hey, let's have a community meet. And then she was one of the people that showed up. A little reserved, a little, uh, very little for the words sort of person.
Yeah.
hmm And then, yeah, that's how we met. And we started hanging out some more. And then here she is now, earning her place of rightful trust right alongside me. Warui, you are clearly not able to read the room, are you? Do you see this person, Warui? Probably the last thing you're gonna see before you go, if you keep that up.
Yep.
Oh, too late.
Sorry.
Princess, the algorithm showed me your reels and you seem like a cool person. Oh, was the blue a giveaway of me being cool and chill?
Yes, just like minty colored toothpaste.
Minty charcoal activated toothpaste. So lovely, oh so fresh. Most of all, the best at giving you good breath. What? Nothing wrong with checking my teeth, right? Whoa. Yes, check them, yes. Oh, I remember actually I'm saying something about Gab, you look better when the temperature of your lighting is more cool. Let's see. So something like this, right? But it doesn't match the scene. The scene I'm at is rather warm. So I do have to stick with this. Are you still sponsored by the toothpaste brand? An official sponsorship. I wish, Drax, I wish. I have received neither email nor any form of interest when it comes to sponsoring good old Geb over here. But that's okay. Think of it as the Mexico filter. You're Mexican, that got me thirsty. Oh. Yeah. I'm so tempted to lie down. Day two. I'm sure chat won't mind. There we go. It doesn't look like I'm. Yes. Clearly not relaxing by the lot. I'm still trying to get used to the new schedule I have. My goodness, it's kind of hard to adapt. So for almost 2 weeks, I've been sleeping like a normal person would. going to bed around 10:30 p.m. and then waking up just as the sun starts to rise. Okay, maybe a little bit of a head start. So that puts me at what, 7 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Geb, how was your summer and how did the moving go? There are still a few things in my storage room that I've yet to sort out. But aside from that, it's finally accomplished. All of the difficult, heavy stuff I was able to move. Thank goodness. I think the most challenging part to bring up was the aquariums. Most definitely the aquariums. It's heavy. I had to drain it first. And then I had to bring it up. I had to make like special little surfaces in order for the fish not to, for the base of the aquarium not to crack and whatnot. Speaking of aquarium, man, the plumbing of my apartment ain't the best. Because I am here in the top floor, I do not have ample water pressure. So that necessitated a purchase of a water pump, 220 volts. And then, what do they call this? It's called a bladder tank. It's like a pressure tank with an internal bladder inside.
So basically, it's sort of like the water heaters here in the U.S. They collect water, heat it up, and that's how we get hot water in our homes.
Yeah.
Except for like actual just water in general.
I see.
That's
Geb.
part of a family life, so that runs out fast. Go ahead, sorry.
What day shall the monthly reset be? Will it be the first of the month or do you have a special date in mind? Once we accomplish our first bill of the month fundraiser, we shall commemorate that day as the monthly reset. Of course, it's not possible without the help of, well, you guys. So you still have some time to retain your levels. But knowing Bev and his whims, things could change at the moment's notice. Though I think the guy's kind of busy with work and whatnot. And the little Defender project, not little really, it's a big one. Turning it to a camper is not an easy undertaking. Someone very patiently waiting for Bev to be restarted. Oh, he's gonna be included in the level reset, don't worry. Why, hi there, Mystic.
I'm assuming there's only 2 people who are going to be
The Great Reset.
Free from the level reset.
The Great Reset. Yes, Bev, the Great Reset. We are looming ever so closely towards it. Based on current trajectory, we will probably be having it perchance. It's already August, right? September. Yes. Funny because my bill cycles aren't at the end of the month. It's now on the 15th of every month. So we'll probably be on track, I hope. As long as my entertainment value holds strong, then perchance said goal will be achievable. The amount of the reactions I also look forward to once everybody's back to level 1. Everybody that isn't me, I mean.
No, you're even gonna reset your mod?
Okay, maybe not you. You need that. You actually need the levels, Vesp, in order to do your thing. But yes, hello, Mystic. Nice to see you. Welcome to another stream. All hail the reset. My level represents my IQ. No, you're smart, Axiom. You're just willingly special. There we
Silly.
go. Silly, yes, silly. Not with a T, with an I. Wow. Feel like I need to change the angle of this particular shot. Oops. Eh. There we go. There's something more like this. There we go. Oh, I'm being obscured by the little bar. There. Perfect. I am 11 as well. I think Nordex is our most senior member over at the Discord, seeing he's in the line of this. Yes. Ish, I didn't say the number. Chat could have missed the little gesture I just made. Mitzi says I might be coming up on 16. I probably won't make it to dine-in in time. Oh dear, oh my. Mitzi, ever busy with his little projects, his endeavors with the slime, yes. It was entertaining seeing you stream your laying out of the PCBs. It's okay to be old, Nord, says Beth. That's true. That's very true. Look at me. I'm super old. I am. How old am I, chat? Between the range of 0 and 30 million. There we go. Yes. Yes. Gosh. Oh, thank you, Ren. 3 months, huh? So quick. How time flies. Just 10 more days and it's 100 days. The rare Gebusaurus Rex. Look at me. I am prehistoric yet evolved. I can speak English to an extent. I can think. I can calculate, comprehend mathematics, albeit repeating algebra 4 times in college.
You repeated algebra 4 times, and then
I repeated it
passed
4
it
times.
first try.
There are subjects I repeated in college, okay? It's
Yeah.
algebra
not
4
easy.
times. I had to take summer classes and then I knelt on the floor when I passed. And I said, thank you so much, ma'am. And then politics and government, I don't know. It's just the most boring class of all. And I could not drill the information to my head.
Yes, so it's just like US history back when I was in high school. I'd just sit there for like 20 minutes and then
Yeah,
fall
pretty
asleep.
much. I bet. Well, best multiplying combo. Yes. Reed is 24. Reed is in 3rd place now. My goodness, how quickly things turn.
Surpassing the
Hi
Demon
there,
King, huh?
Birdie. I know. The Demon King should be on top, shouldn't he? With his special little multiplier and all. I'm amazed Axel is back on page 1 already. I mean, you guys did sacrifice levels in exchange for gaining your special titles, right? I mean, politics classes sucks as Beth. Take that from a guy that works with politics. You quite literally are making a living with a subject I failed so many times. I think it was simply the memorization part that I really sucked at because I had to remember a bunch of
Yeah.
things I never really cared about. Ooh, when was this president born? Ooh, where was the childhood home of the 12th president of the Philippines?
A lot of stuff we don't need to know.
Yes. Ooh, what? Yeah. Oh, God, just think about it's making me sleepy. Join the dark side. Keep the drive-thru crunching. Imagine sacrificing 20 levels, not simply to keep the bitrate down, but not being able to post any images for a set amount of time or links, or sacrificing levels in order to rename a member of the opposing faction to a funny nickname that will be cleared after 24 hours. Oh, the long-haired Demon King, or like Red Scales, the Duns.
Scales' evil brother.
Yes. Mitzi, who will probably end up with a faulty bunch of PCBs and IMUs in his next order. You know, that can be funny little nicknames. Nordex, the clearly not middle-aged individual who is mildly socially awkward in our Discord. We can rename Blue, yes. All that is possible once we start our little campaign here after that's accomplished. Don't worry, we still have some time. Oh, nothing, Nord. I said you're cool. And I'll probably find you in IKEA, investigating the little tags that are on the couches and sofas and whatnot. Failed prototypes cost the money. Yes, that's true. I would love a gay stuffed bright pink roll. Gabosaurus. If you sacrifice... No, let's see. There has to be a perk. There has to be a perk to the top supporter of the month that can affect yours truly. Like renaming my role. I wonder what it could be.
I
Sounds
swear if they rename
entertaining.
you to Lizard.
Oh my God. Okay. Yes. Top lizard. Yes. The
Top
prehistoric. Oh, ooh, almost got me there, Beth. Almost made me say the R word. Like I would fall for such an obvious ploy. Speaking of Beth, yesterday, was it yesterday or was it the other day?
It was
I had a
the other
little
day.
community meet and I was surprised by the amount of people that actually showed up. They were pretty much all of the people that are active over at my Discord. And lo and behold, I finally ran into Beth in all his fantastic jackety glory. I did remember him saying that he wears like this nondescript jacket whenever he goes to work, so he's like low-key. So like probably the superiors don't pay him attention during his job. But it was nice running into you. And the rest too. I wish I could have hanged out a bit longer, but lo and behold, I was really running low on energy. We gotta do that midnight drive map again. How many were we? Like 8? We were all squished into that little van, right? And then there's like little stopovers where we need to look for the little spiders.
Yeah.
Yes.
I only went to 2 stopovers and found 2 spiders. And there was 15
That's
to
true.
find.
Yes. Hello, Wackle. I'm okay. You gotta look unimportant as Beth, so no one asked questions, and I was glad I could make it. Of course, more than welcome to come hang out again. And I'm also glad that you're able to have fun with the rest of the community, like Blue, Axel, Mitzi, Fluffy, right? There's Axiom, there's Vesper, there's Litz, there's me, and probably missed a bunch of other people. I was worried on that map. You were driving. You should get worried if I'm on a bike. Thankfully, it was like 4 wheels.
Yeah, no, I don't think you should be worried if he's driving. You should be worried if I'm driving.
That's true if it's Vesper. Do you have a license, Vesper?
No.
There you have it, chat. Note to self, let's not have Vesper driving anytime soon.
Not to mention licenses are expensive here. Not now.
Ooh, expensive? What do you mean? How much would licenses be there? To be fair, here it was.
Considering I'd have to pay
50?
for classes and instructor and all that, and then for a license on top of it, because I'd have to update this, that, and the other thing.
Okay.
It's well over $100.
Okay. What is the validity of the driver's license? Every year? 3 years? Here it's either 5 years or 10 years. I got like a 10-year valid license and I have to renew.
5.
5 was
That
it?
on top of my head right now.
It's okay if you can't recall it. This,
I'm more concerned with what I've got to do on a daily basis than driving anyways.
I trust Vesp. She's got this. She's gotta play this music, like this song called Highway to Hell, and it would be perfect. I don't know. Geb has jumped a vehicle already, Vespers. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. But then again, I did jump a vehicle that was designed to be airborne, Bev.
Just didn't stick the landing.
It's just the landing that was needed more practice, that's for sure. I made friends with the underside of a van. That was nice. $15 for Howler. I only trust people who've been driving for over 2 years with no issues. Oh, it seems like Blue here has some rather high requirements when it comes to somebody being behind the steering wheel. Hello, Vanya, with the VTuber tag on their name. What's 15? I think it's the thing that comes after 14 and before 16, Blue. You know, numbers. I've driven 3 times and only crashed once. That means you have a 77% success ratio. I think those are good odds. $66, right, my bad, 66. Okay, maybe not so good odds. If I'm ever out in your area, you're best find a dirt track. I can turn you from trusting someone that has not had an incident to trusting no one driving. Dibs, I want to ride shotgun with Beth. We're gonna make that defender of his. I hope it's not Leaf Springs, Beth. We would have lumbar problems if we land on something with Leaf Springs. I'm in that round. Yes. Let us actively rearrange Axiom while going over rough terrain.
Yes, it's gonna sound like you've got a few bowling balls in the back.
Yep. From hard thuds to eventually splotches and squishes. And that's when you know you gotta stop. Mitzi says, in my hometown, you could get the learners at 14, and all it required was you to read an online course, pass a digital test, then always drive with a licensed driver. Tests were cheap at like $50. Oh, sounds very fair. I call the back of the truck. So we're gonna have Mystic just hanging on to like a grab bar or some odd piece of metal that's not rusty, yes. I will just put Axiom in a washing machine, comments Blue. Should give the same or similar result. That's probably low setting if it's the washing machine. And it's funny, we're gonna see like Axiom just like spin around and then it's probably gonna say some funny things. Maybe puke after a minute or two. Ah, yes. I mean, you can always put it back in knowing you, Axiom. Ah, whew, I hydrated by my own. Litz says, welcome back, Litz. I got some ice cream and hot cocoa. No. Let's say it the way Litz says. Oh, I got some ice cream and hot cocoa. She's always got this whole, sort of like detached, very tired, world-weary voice. With a sprinkle of German on top.
Sprinkle of German, okay.
Yes.
How long were you planning on streaming, by the way?
I don't
We're
know.
already at the
Probably
hour
when
and 4-minute mark.
That's very much true, isn't it? Maybe when I start to get a tad bit more sleepy. Why? And see if we can socialize after. Who wants to show up? Oh, I get to lie down in my couch just like this. It's made of wood.
Wooden couch. Doesn't sound very
Yes,
comfy.
the wooden couch. 1 hour already. I know, Drax. It's how quickly time flies. I bet the perspective of a tiger bee, somebody who's both feline and insectoid at the same time, time must pass rather slower to you, right? It's like 5 minutes is 10 minutes to you. I cannot wait to get my funny little dongle with 7 antennas on it so I can use the rest of my trackers, not just these. It's so odd not having arm tracking. Wouldn't time go faster? I know for insects, flies, for example, and excuse me for mentioning them, roaches, time seems to flow much slower to them. I'm not sure, Blue. I'm sorry, but he's not wrong. See, Blue knows what I'm talking about. Litz does sound that way, doesn't she? It's like, I don't know, guys. Fixing my base stations is so much work.
Like one of those sassy rich people in movies.
Yeah, precisely. The sassy rich people. Come watch some anime after stream. You know that sounds mighty tempting. What, we're gonna watch more Romantic Killer. What's this? Ah. Uh, yeah, we're closer to 2050 than 2000. Such a thought indeed. Gosh, oh gosh. Oh, Blue, who are you to complain? You're still freshly of adult age. You still have so much ahead of you. So much more time. So much more things to experience. Still so many treasure boxes to open. Oh, this is weird. I
Evil,
have my.
you made me yawn
There we go.
too.
Whoa. I'm fine with that. I would be retired in 2050. Beth by 2050 would be older than he is now. Let's stick with that. 2025 has been crazy though, says Blue Scales. They're pretty sure the console wars are ending. I mean, crossplay, and that's true, that's true. I'm feeling slightly motivated to go play Helldivers again. As I mentioned earlier on stream, the new Warband, the whole indoor fighting sounds exciting. Me, Lit, and Howler, Vesper were also talking about, well, Vesper was more listening, about trying to play some For Honor. It seems fun. There's a little sparring between friends, you know. Gebon Helldivers. I mean, I have the game. I just stopped because the last time I played was during the Call of Super Earth. Them Illuminates landing on the mega cities and everything. And then I stopped. For Honor, yes. We were thinking of waiting for a discount, and then we're gonna get the game, and we're gonna all start over from level 1, and then just have fun from there. Probably not gonna fight real people because they're all gonna be level 600 plus sweat. But having a friendly scuffle between peers is always something fun. Oh, we shall see whose blade is sharper. Also, I want to see Vesper get infuriated when she tries to beat me. Oh, please. It's gonna be fun. Besides, when it goes on sale, it's gonna be what? A couple of coins from your pocket, $3, $4. Just the way I imagined Beth to play. The Shugoki. Going all Wagat Shuriari, and then he's gonna hit you with this big old spiky baseball bat and launch you really far, or give you the little hugs, which will make you go fall asleep without waking up. I missed being on the stream. It's good to be back. Welcome back, Spartan. We're gonna bet on who. That sounds like fun for honor duels. And then you get the wagers. And then I will open up a little tournament where you can fight me or the Demon King. And if you win, you're gonna get special perks. Who knows?
I think we should stop.
Maybe you can get levels and other special titles that's exclusive on the server. Oh, what's this? Zach has decided to go move the bar a teeny tiny little bit and have a lovely decimal point of 2 with the point 8 written. Thank you so much, Zach. Yes, the bills are very bad. I have to pay so much now. Need to make everything a business. Well, I do have to find a way to, 1, put food on the table, 2, ensure the roof stays above my head. I don't want to be homeless again, chat. It's not the best thing to not have a accessible bathroom at all times. All those mosquitoes and cockroaches crawling over. I'm glad I'm done with that phase. Bev says I'm not good enough to give rewards. Don't worry, I'm the one who's gonna handle the rewards. If the community goes to choose to challenge, it's going to be levels and little perks and titles and maybe a wish. Dear Geb, I wish to rename Blue Scales to Red Scales, the Potato Eater, for 3 whole days. Wish granted. Oh my, I'm sorry to hear that. How did you overcome that hard time? To sheer determination and optimism, and being friends with the other poor people too. I remember being friends with the lady who was selling. What was she selling? She was selling like these little rice treats, and she would always pass by and give me some. Even though she makes like $4 a day, she would still share her little food with me so I don't starve. I remember making friends with the guy who always pushed the carts and collects junk, who collects bottles and whatnot for recycling and a little bit of money. You would be surprised how these normally unseen, shunned people actually have hearts of gold once you get to know them. I mean, not everybody's nice, sure, but I would say a majority of them are. We just ended up sort of helping each other out. It's been a while, Herms. Small internet hiccup. Of course, Ves. See you soon. What's this? Reed has decided to go dig through his pocket full of insulation and toss some coins my way. Thank you so much, Reed. Reed actually cleared up the decimal points. Oh my goodness, we can't have that, can we? Unfortunately, our food scientist to be is a little busy trying to sort her base stations out. It's always those stories of good-hearted people being there for each other. Yeah, I won't forget the old lady. She was really nice. She would say in Tagalog, "Iho, okay lang yan. Makakaraos ka rin." It translates to, "Ihos," like, "Young man, don't worry about it. This too shall pass. Just don't forget to smile." You know, hearing these words are sometimes more than enough to keep you from sinking into the pit of despair that a lot of people fall into and they're unable to get out of it. Luckily enough, I never fell into that. I don't know, maybe it's one of my traits. What's this? Beth has decided to cause more disorder to the numerical domain of the tips by adding
For the decimals.
Decimals. Thank you, Beth. Oh my goodness. No, Nordex has decided to finally open his really, really thick wallet, probably full of like a mixture of expired IDs, maybe multiple bank cards, and then a whole lot of wad of cash. Thank you so much, Nord. I appreciate it. I think it's the first time you've supported, huh? And we get a digit of buy. Oh my goodness, 3.4. Wow. Beth cannot be stopped. Oh my goodness, I don't think we can even stop the guy, chat. I actually did once before. Well, that's on me for forgetting. I'm sorry. Thank you. I forgot to change anonymous. Oh, that's why.
$61.24. Fixed.
Thank you, Reed and Anonym. Good luck playing your games, Lasco. I tried to fix it. Not the decimals. Oh, the decimals seems like they're here to stay. Oh no. Anone has ruined it for you, Reed. Oh, looks like Vesper's coming back. Ugh. Axel says, Reed, you should have learned from my mistake. There's no fixing them. Oh, trust me. The war between good and evil, the battle between decimal and whole, it's all the same two sides of a coin. It will always be there. Oh no, Reed.
This work now.
No, in tandem. That's impossible. I've never seen that.
Don't worry.
Oh, never mind.
Right.
I thought you two were helping each other, trying to get the the thing, the whole number. Apparently not. Oh no. Oh my. It is not working indeed. I'm so tempted to lie down. Day 3. There's gonna be 3 attempts to fix the decimals at the same time. That is the first time I've ever seen somebody like tape at the same time. And it's like it's a correction and then a destruction after. Oh, how fast the sleep schedule breaks. I know, Axel. I'm trying to adapt back into my night owl schedule, but unfortunately, it is easier said than done. Because I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna stay up and whatnot. And then, I'm kind of filled with energy. So I go open Blender, I
There
go
we go.
open Unity. And then 6 hours later, I'm sleepy as heck. Probably not the wisest decision to have prior to stream.
Mhm.
But I had to do my commissions. Vesper needed her stuff done. A bit of adjustments, maybe some toning and contrast, but overall, it's better. That's not a whole number. 889.69. Nice.
Nice.
No, that's a nice decimal, says Mr. Monster. That is very much true. Oh, the temptation to go nudge this by like 0.01. Nietzsche says, unexpected garage maintenance at 7 a.m. I was writing code late last night. Burning the midnight oil, I see. As always. It tracks your tongue. Yes, sometimes I tend to moisturize my lips by sticking my tongue out, and it happens.
Jeb needs some chapstick.
Mm-mm-mm. Ah. Wait a minute, we're almost at 1 hour and 23. Aren't
Oh.
we? My goodness, I did say today was just going to be a really short stream. But lo and behold, here we are, a bit of an extension.
Mhm.
Look at you getting time. Barton says, oh yeah, also, how you been lately, Gab? It's been a while and I just wanted to know how it's going. Because without you being live for so long, I was feeling sad of not seeing your stream. But I'm happy to be back. Oh, again, for the past 2 weeks, I was very busy with my bovine. Lifting things up and down, getting parcels from the ground floor all the way up to the 5th floor. Jump starting my cardio career, yes. Fan service. What fan service? I'm just leaning on my couch.
How's that fan service? The English. How's that fan service if he's just
Yeah.
relaxing, you know?
Precisely. Look, chat, I'm just lying down, see? Well, ish. Wait, no. Let's hide it. There we go.
There we go. No free fan service.
There we go. No free fan service for you. How comfy is the sofa? I hope it's very... I would give it a 7 out of 10. The 10 out of 10 sofas were like 4 times the price. And I said, I will settle with the 7 out of 10 for some 4 times cheaper. Action with the sad face. Don't be sad.
Might be sad when you could probably see us in VR.
That's true.
I mean, I might be on longer than Geb is, but yeah.
Most likely, yes. Say the word. What word, Liz? In night guard. Ginger. Mr. Monster, aka Zach, says, I forgot about the larger play space. Are you enjoying it? I am most definitely enjoying it. I'm not able to enjoy it not 100% yet because I need to find a solution to get better reception for my dongles. For my Vives, I can only wear 4 of them at the moment. And then if I cross over more than half to my play space because there is a big pillar in between, I lose reception. So I ordered a powered USB cable and a funny 7-in-1 dongle, which should hopefully arrive by September 2. And let's see how far we can go from there. That's why for now you have to deal with Geb, who's like super lazy at the moment. Taking it easy.
Mhm.
Have you been to any VR dance classes yet? Yesterday, I was over at the VR Dancing World with Mecca, but no, I did not dance. I simply dropped by to say hello until he inadvertently had to go hop off, I think because of a washing machine mishap over at the family home. And he called me later during the day saying he was hunting for the components for repair of said washing machine. Time for another meeting, says Mitzi. I'm a lurk for probably the rest of the stream. Good luck at your meeting, Mitzi. Dongle, a very unfunny word. It seems like Blue has a question over to Beth. Good question. I've never seen the exclamation point tip command being invoked by Beth. Denix the Star Fox has decided to raid the channel with a party of 5. My goodness, we have a bunch of muggers. I don't have money. No, don't betray me,
Just
coin.
the one singular coin.
Just the one singular
dang it,
coin I
so the
have.
face with.
Yes.
Oh,
Hello,
looked like you hit yourself
welcome
in the
raiders.
face.
I hope you had a good stream, Xenix. Thanks for dropping by. I hope you had a good time with Xenix when he was streaming. Yeah. Hurting my neck. There.
Yeah, let's avoid that.
Avoid that. What's this? I feel like you're auto-filling ATP by typing those. ATP? Is that some sort of bodily reaction involving sugar and cells? At this point, okay. I click the support thing right below stream. Fair.
That way he doesn't have to wait for the message to scroll by. Smart.
I just remembered, note to self. I gotta call my old ISP because my second internet line, the original one, is still running and I need to have that cut off before the end of the month or else they're gonna bill me double. Oh my goodness, thank you.
To remember.
Yes. 69 is a nice decimal. Oh my goodness. Seems like the Demon King is having a good time enjoying his decimal point. It would be such a shame if somebody else were to ruin that number, which Beth has to correct after, huh? This. Okay, let's do some math. Beth decided to add more numbers. Oh no. Oh.
It's been enough time to know that there won't be another donation directly after mine.
And then there's Reed, who, yes. Reed, just yes. Oh no. Thank you, Reed and Beth. Oh no. You okay there?
I'm good.
This Reed fellow. Shouldn't Reed be dealing with some squeaky drum brakes or leaking oil or something?
Mm.
I remember you mentioning you had a bit of truck troubles. Similar to what Beth is going with his oil, which is probably from both transmission fluid and engine oil from the sump.
One a bit, Reed.
What's this? It was not right after you read. It was right before. Hey, Reed, says Zach. I'm not going to take you gambling anytime soon. Nor do I always for 20. You see, Nordexium is probably a big fan of the good stuff. That's why it's always that number.
Mm. Yes, he's he's
Speculation.
a fan of the stuff.
He's a
Speculation.
fan of the stuff. When I say stuff, the numerical representation is 420. Now, what else could I have meant? Hello, Forgotten Angel. It's been a hot minute since you've been here on stream. Hope you're doing okay. I thought the other numbers is actually other number.
Hmm.
Or 20 as it chimes to. And with that, thank you again, Nor. At the same time
I'm
again.
sure of it this time.
What the heck? What's it? Let's see the numbers. Oh. That's funny. It's funny how like you guys are trying to supplant each other with the decimal points. So before each delivery, there's a bit of mental math going on. Of course, it's Anony who gave as well. If you missed it, you missed it. I heard the whisper. You did not hear the whisper.
You didn't hear anything.
Whisper. There was no whisper whatsoever. I did not utter that word. What whisper? Exactly, Blue. There was no whisper. It's his British ears hearing things again. Oh no, Zach.
Surely
Zach.
this is the time.
The great equalizer. Oh my goodness. Whoa, we actually managed to correct it. 1025. That's a fantastic number indeed. Oh my god, I can't stop yawning right now. Here, switch to
Oh
Vesper.
no.
What?
Trying to throw it away, but it keeps
I know.
returning to your palm.
Yep, I give up. Oh no, Beth with the the point one. The point one. Beth really likes playing around with this number, as yes. Thank you, Sir Rabe.
It likes to irritate people with the slightly off decimal.
Oh, 100%. Oh god, I'm dead. Ugh. Super dead.
You think it's time to call it a day with stream?
No, not yet.
Mhm.
We're like one of Beth's rare and elusive hairs away from the Great
goal.
Reset. Oh, you're right. Beth is the
I
enemy, not the
guess.
bill. I'm gonna have to think of what the next one is. No, that's okay. Now, the monthly quota is pretty much okay, so I will survive and, well, the landlord will be happy, that's what. The electric guy, the water guy, and then the landlord will be happy.
And Geb will be happy too, because he has
I will be
money for
happy
food.
too. That's true. I won't be out in the streets for another month.
Mhm.
Okay, what's this? How about we reset? Hear me. Drax is asking, why did you choose the colors that you have on your Sona? Anything in particular? You see, I was originally going for more of a spectral theme of sorts. Hence, I have just blue as my color on anything and everything. Blue here, there. It also makes things easier to remember.
Because blue in the sort of blackish gray is very iconic, very simple.
Yeah,
I have
right?
a lot more colors.
Precisely.
Yeah, no, chat can guess, because my theme's just gone. Because the original theme, out the window.
All hail the Great Reset. All hail the Great Reset. Who was going to be the sacrifice, right? Before he's the one who's gonna have his level like reset first before everybody else. Again, I'll take another hit in levels if Blue does as well. How many days has it been? Is it done with the cooldown? Oh, save it. Come on. All of you guys are gonna go back to 1 anyway. It's more of a fair start. But the Great Reset only applies to a select number of individuals. Of course, I can't reset each and every level of the person that's in the server. Like, the ones that's like level 3 and 2, they would feel bad. Don't worry, it's up to my discretion. And we add an A to Beth's name. Make him not Beef.
BF. Beef.
Oh no,
BF.
Action's not safe. He's gonna get reset too. 100%.
There's only 2 people who will be spared.
Yes.
That's because it's absolutely necessary.
Everybody that is level 4 and below are safe. There. To give chance to the people that are actually slowly accruing points in the Discord so they have access to the image and the GIF rights, was it? Yes. As long as I am part, of course, Reed, you are up there, most definitely. Yes, me, and you can do a coin flip. Yeah, we might actually make it to 2 hours. It's 1 hour and 41. But I can wrap it. I can feel the stamina diminishing. Fluffy says, I didn't even get to level 20 and already back down. Sadness. But the crunch is better anyway. Think of it this way, Fluffy. At least you'll be motivated to be more active with everybody else, right? Oh my goodness. Pardon the yawning, chat, and my pretty much lack of maximal energy. I'll get used to this schedule again soon enough. Beef.
Beef.
Beef. Beef
This is
shawarma.
good.
Not
Oh my
beef
God.
vessels.
Oh god. Yeah. Now you started to mention food and make me hungry.
Have you not had lunch yet, Casper?
I had a snack before stream, but I was planning to eat lunch after stream.
Oh, well, don't worry. We're gonna go wrap up stream 2 hours tops. 2. Also, chat. In my Discord, we have a little thing where it's there's the heroes of light and then there's the forces of darkness, and our top supporter being the Demon King. You can choose which to side with. Either you're in the forces of light or you're in the forces of dark. All you gotta do is type in general and then let me know. And being able to join each side has its perks and its drawbacks. I'm the only hero of light. Please, someone join me. Beth already has a subordinate, and that would be Axel. I can see Axiom. Axiom being like the mad scientist sort of deal, you know, the whole pushing glasses. I think things will be a bit unbalanced because everybody will join the dark side. What can I do? Maybe I'll join the light side. My son as an angel after an angel. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'm being charismatic. Fluffy says Blue the hero tried to stand alone against the powers of darkness. Okay, good luck, Beth. Oh, and Nordic has
People shall
decided
prevail.
to go fill up the barn. What do you know? We made it. Congratulations. Yes. Ooh, thank you, Nord. And so it seems like the Great Reset is going to ensue sooner than later. Maybe later when I get to recharge my energy. What game has had the most influence on you and why? The most influence of a game. MMORPG wise, it's this thing called Ragnarok Online, but I'm not sure if the West knows about it. But aside from that, influence, not necessarily the best game I like. Influence is it probably is For Honor, most definitely. It just has its own special charm, the whole nitty-gritty thing before it essentially started turning into Fortnite. Why? Because for the first couple of years, the game was predominantly a creative take on historical accuracy when it comes to combat. It was nice, gritty, nitty, the executions, the combat. Now the skins are all funny, Call of Duty-esque things going on. It kind of lost its charm for me. I mean, yes, I know they needed ideas and to make money, but still, I want knights to be knights, Vikings to be Vikings, the samurai to be samurai, not like anime characters and whatnot. With the effects. Nordic says that he played it. Oh, so I take it you know the bustling city of Frontera with merchants everywhere. Yes. I feel like you would like Red Dead Redemption Online, yeah. I mean, maybe. I have yet to finish RDR2, you know. The one thing I enjoyed the most about Ragnarok Online was it was an RPG, MMORPG, which was very, very luck based on drops. Like, for example, monsters would drop equipment at a 1 out of 10,000 rate, or cards like at a 1 out of 100,000. So when you pick one up and the whole server picks up on it, there's clamor and an uproar and then people want to buy it. It was incredible. It was exhilarating. And bosses were, oh my god, they were so difficult. I loved the grind, the difficulty, and the sheer amount of luck. And it was open world and there was no level scaling at all. Oh, not to mention one of my favorite parts, which is PvP. I love being able to think of builds, being able to grind gear in order to beat my adversary and whatnot. I have a snake in my boot. What, Beth? Draxus.
Toy Story?
Yeah, from Toy Story. Drax says Call of Duty has done irreversible damage to the gaming industry, from features to influence how people play FPS. I remember when Call of Duty was good, like Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Yeah, I think that was peak for me. And then now there's like all sorts of nonsense going on. I don't even want to touch the game.
Yeah. Like Nicki Minaj in
Yeah,
like,
the Nicki
whole,
Minaj thing.
Yeah. The emojis, the Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-mm.
Indeed. Speak to Black Ops 2. From there it went the numbers, Mason. The numbers. Okay, now, where were we? Let me check Discord real quick. See what's going on. I see Litz's fan art. It's finished. That sent like 1 billion reacts because I really love it. Look at Vesper, is really cute with the squish saying help. Oh my god, that's so cute. We have somebody tagging me in general, what? Alright, we're reading general. I need more friends in VR chat, says Nordexium. Willow replies with hopefully I can make it in time today. My VR is charged though. Shh, Willow says threateningly.
Yes, we love our banter.
Yes, there's always banter going on at that Discord. My internet is acting up. Geb is live, says Blue. Geb has threatened a short stream, but who knows? Thank you for the
I mean, we
reminder.
only have 9 more minutes.
9 more minutes, chat, and then I gotta skedaddle.
I think this guy needs to get a little something. Did you eat enough before stream, or do you think you need to eat more after?
Oh, I did. I just probably need like a 30-minute nap, but that's just me hanging around BC or lying down while you guys do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Fluffy wants to get into the dark side so he can fight against the bitrate. All right, Fluffy, you are gonna get that roll then.
Yes, at this point, the bitrate's gonna be so crunchy that you can't even hear anything. It's just,
Yes. Pierre would want to be in the light side. Oh, looks like we're gonna have an ally for blue. Stop slacking in general. Yes, yes, I know. Okay, hello, Gab. I'll join the dark side. All right, read. The crunchier, the more memorable it is. You know, with the voice channels being low bitrate, is very reminiscent of the days one would be on raid call or on TeamSpeak. I think that's where the nostalgic crunchiness is stemming from. Oh, let's not even talk about Skype and the absolutely atrocious video quality. Yahoo Messenger, MSQ, MSN Messenger. TeamSpeak were peak times, yes. ICQ. Yeah, you're old, Nord. ICQ. Nowadays, communication is very accessible, very easy. It's free. Yeah, you're old. Windows Live Messenger. Of course. There's one thing I missed that was in the older messaging apps that isn't here on Discord. Have you ever heard of the buzz function? So there is this button in Yahoo Messenger in which you could press it, and then it would make the Yahoo Messenger of the person you're buzzing, like it would shake their screen like crazy and then play a sound. Just so they would pay attention to the app. It was kind of cool. Yeah, the buzz.
really helpful for an urgent office situation, but and a fun way to annoy your friends otherwise, huh?
No. Oh god, I'm dead. Wow, hitting like a ton of bricks. Brax says, I remember I found a way to spam it and skip the... I have no idea how to skip it. I always knew there's like a 5-second cooldown or sorts. And then I remember there being the little emojis, the smileys, which if you send them, they would like play little audios like, oh my god, no way! And then, yeah, it was fun. Yeah, there was. The emojis that you sent before would play audio. It was a little animated thing. You could buzz in VR chat. I think it's called poking, but they immediately took it away, unfortunately. There's this comic chatting in Windows when you connected to IRC. I'm trying to remember what that was. Hi there, Sir Dragon. It's like my cat made it out. Oh man. Oh, that sounds fun. I think we tried it once or twice. I can't quite recall. It's been so long. And I was so young. Couldn't wait. I'm hungry and the dogs need out. Okay, Vesp, no problem. Drax says, you had to close the chat window and open it again in a way where the button for the close the chat is at the same place as the person's name. You could open it and close it super fast, and you had to. Oh, okay. If it was still alive, that tip would be useful. But unfortunately, I think all of these messenger apps I've mentioned are depreciated. Windows Live Messenger. If you're familiar with something a little bit more obscure within the Windows environment, it was this thing called the Windows pop-up. So it was like a messenger that you could do within a local network. And yes, sleepy lizard, sleepy, 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 sleepy. I am gonna take a nap after stream. I can't. I'm dead. Yeah, but I use that to spam messages on computer. Same here. That's where I discovered it. It was during computer lab class. We were tasked with learning how to use Microsoft Word back then. Obviously, most of us were bored with the task, so we were fiddling around the computer and we saw this thing called Windows pop-up. Right, only one and they have to say before they do. Psst. Rax says, what makes me really sad about gaming nowadays is that the newer generations will never know the golden days of online gaming when quality and fun was priority rather than greed. You know, that's true. I have to agree with you with that. Now it's all about the money making part more so than the rest of the gameplay. I remember having a whole lot of fun just playing the old Counter-Strike with friends in LAN or Unreal Tournament. And what was my favorite level? The Longest Yard. It was like two temples facing each other. Was it? And I played some Quake 3. Yeah, it's just a bunch of games. Blue Scale says, I remember I used to play Team Fortress 2, man. I only played 2 Fortress for the good times. What do you mean money-wise? I used to play TF2. Quake 3 Arena, yes. Especially when those days became unplayable, like Call of Duty 4. It's nice to reminisce about the older days, which games were more simple and I guess it's because it wasn't as accessible to us when we were younger. We had limited funds, we had limited time because we still had to contend with school. It made our time with gaming much more valuable. We got to appreciate it more. The fact that I could sneak away and play at least an hour and a half per day on my brother's computer, like Command and Conquer, for example, the RTS, I'd love watching him. And then when he gives me a chance to play, I feel the happiest. It was such a delight. Now you essentially have unlimited computer usage. You can play any game you want. You now have the money to buy games. Is when you feel the most demotivated and lost to actually play. It's quite a conundrum. It's sad, really. Here you are opening Steam and whatnot, and you're just staring there, not knowing what to do. Two hours have passed. Chat, I'm gonna stick to what I said, and I'll probably be calling the stream a bit short today. I'm gonna try my absolute best to stream on time on Friday. It's probably late for you guys too. So yeah, let's see who's on Twitch. I wonder who. I don't have the energy to raid. I'm tired, chat. Drax says, "Oh, well, okay. Well, Anoni." Wants me to raid, God. We sing you a bedtime song. Sure. Go ahead. Hey. Shh. Okay. Yeah. I may not be able. No, I'm probably gonna pass on the community meet today, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't interact with the friends you've made here in VR chat. You guys can always go hang out, even though I'm not there. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Before I start mumbling or turning this into an even more boring stream, let me go and say goodnight to everybody. Come on. Or good day. I'm not sure what time it is. I'm gonna take a short nap and then come back, maybe hop back at the VR chat or this and that, yes. So even Beth wants me to go sleep. I will, thank you. A missile is tired. Good. I'm gonna walk the dogs with me mom when stream ends. Alright, enjoy walking your mom. Have a great your dogs with your mom. See what's happening. That's what happens. Sleep is necessary. Yes. My sincere apologies. I didn't mean to. So, I should like skedaddly do, shouldn't I? Before I start fumbling more with my English. Yes, Skip, says Nord. Ah. Catch you later, Yep. Okay. The earlier I rest, the earlier I'm able to return. So, with that being said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, chat. Thanks for joining me on this brief stream. I apologize again if I'm a bit late. I was wrapping some stuff up, avatar-wise. I'll see you again day after tomorrow, preferably in a time that's much more accessible to everybody earlier. Alright, so you be good, do your chores, do your thing, have your lunch, breakfast, or dinner. Or if you're just plain hungry, grab a snack. Don't keep yourself unsated, alright? And go drink water too. I'll see you around Beth, Zach, Axel, Blue, Drax, Vesper, Nordex, Litz, and Anonymous, and Aximus, I think busy with Blender. Okay, I'm not gonna stall, I'm gonna go close the thingamabob, and I will catch you in the next stream, okay? And all of you lurkers too, I know you're there. I will catch you next time, okay? Bye.